Hi everyone, we're back in the production studio. It's Virginia here, and I'm going to give you a quick run through of the basic operation of Zoom H6 recorder. So the recorder currently is packed in this small road case, and I'm going to take it out of the road case so we can have a look at the individual components. So this is the main recorder, and it comes with two microphone capsules. One is an XY capsule, and this is for stereo recording. This is called the mid-side, and it records both forwards and side to side here. And within the Zoom, you can set this up so you can isolate the side and just have the mic in the middle recording, so it acts as a mini shotgun. And the kit comes with a foam windsock, which is essential for using these capsules outside. So these two capsules are interchangeable, and there's this connection on the top of the Zoom player, and you see that it marries into this flat connector on the base of each of these capsules. So this requires a delicate hand to align the slot with this narrow gap, pushing the two buttons in on the side of the capsule, and they're going to lock once you push those in, gently guiding the little slots together, pushing that on, and you can hear a very gentle click, and you know that that capsule's in place. The unit is powered, if you flip to the back side, by 4 AA batteries, and I'm using rechargeables here. Release the battery cover, and there's a little ribbon. Make sure that's sitting in the bottom. That makes it easier to pull the batteries out. And just pop those 4 AA's in. You want to make sure they're fully charged. Depending on the format, file format that you're recording in, you'll either use the battery slowly or quite quickly. Generally, with uncompressed format, you'll get at least a 4-hour charge record time from fresh batteries. Now that the batteries are in, I'm going to pop the card in the side, and that is on this side. Next to, just along from the on-off button, is the SD card slot. And so we're looking at SD card XC, Extreme, and you can also use Extreme Pro. So you want cards that are fairly fast. So pull that down, slot the card in, here click into place and cover up, close the cover. To turn it on, just slide that until what you see is the light come on the LED screen, and you get some lights coming on that these inputs are activated. And you can see on the LED screen you have the VU meter display. We also have a display of the file size, whether we're using phantom power or not. And currently, with the file format that's selected, which is uncompressed 48 to 24, we have 23 hours of record time. So that's very, very generous. It was a 64 gig card. There are also the folder arrangements, so you can set up how you want your files stored on the card. And what's important is to make sure that the date is correct. So I can see that this date is incorrect. You want to make sure you go in and set the date correctly, because each file is date stamped, and that gives you an indication of which files were recorded when. So it helps you in logging and sorting your files. There's also an indicator here of your battery strength. Okay, so that's the screen. Let's just have a look around the Zoom and see what else we've got. Here's the volume, and this is the headphone volume. Headphones plug into this jack here, so I'll do that now. and this is your volume. And you can see when I press the volume button up and down, on the screen it's giving me an indication of, a numerical indication of the volume for monitoring, for listening back. Now, because it's important to have consistency across your monitoring volume, I like to set that around 70 and not adjust that unless it's in really extreme low-level conditions. That means that I'm constantly monitoring with the headphones at a level of 70, and to adjust, if I need to adjust the gain, I actually use the gain dials on top. So I'm not adjusting the volume, I'm adjusting the strength of the signal. Big difference, and it's important to get your head around that. Our SD slot is here. On both sides we have 2 XLR inputs. So basically the recorder has the capacity for 4 mic inputs, plus the XY stereo capsule on top. So I'll come to this later. I'll show you plugging in an external mic. Again, this is our XY capsule, and the gain dial for that is here. It's on the capsule itself. So from 0 to 10, this is where you wind up your gain. Now to activate this, I want to press the left-right buttons on front, and I'll just turn those 2 off. So what you'll see is that these mics are now active. As I click in front, you can see this is picking up on the VU meter here, and it's quite a hot signal because I'm hitting the red. So I'm just going to wind the level back here, double check again. We've got, depending on where my fingers are, you can see that either the left or the right is getting the stronger signal. So that makes sense. It's a stereo signal, stereo capsule. And that's my gain control for that. So it's the left-right to activate the capsule sitting on top. If I turn that on, I'll now plug in an external mic, and I have here a shotgun. It's a Rode NTG2, and I'm going to run it from phantom power within the Zoom, and I'm going to run it out of, I've got a very long cable, where's the end of it. I'm going to run it, say, out of number 3 input. So see, it's a 3-pin capsule, 3-pin socket, and it's going to go into the 3 pins on the side. Just align that. Never force anything on these delicate instruments. Find it where it sits, and you can feel that slotting in. It doesn't have a lock on at the end of this cable. So I just want to make sure that's in as far as it can go. So because that's going in number 3, you can see the 3 here, I'm going to activate that 3rd channel. And you can see, again, if I click in front of the mic, you can see I'm getting a reading on the VU meter here, down here. Okay, to bring that level up, I'm going to wind up the gain dial. So these are lovely analog dials, very simple to operate. Visually very clear which dial goes with which input, and there you've got the numerical range from 0 to 10, so it's very simple to use. The other side of this is our menu setting, and this is where it's a little clunky. It's a 2-system setup with the menu. So there's a menu button, so let me push that, and you'll see that change out of the VU into, first of all, it's the folder setting, so your menu options, project list. Now to scroll down my menu options, there's this button on the side, which is a sort of rocker wheel, but you also press it in. So I'm going to push it down. You see my thumb moving that. And what I want to do is to the input-output, to select that menu, I push in. And that actually starts selecting all the options within the input-output menu. So it takes a little bit of getting used to the difference between the rocker, moving it up and down, and then selection, pushing it in. Okay, so for number 3, for channel 3 coming in, I want to make sure that the phantom power is on to power up my shotgun mic. So I've selected phantom, pushed that in, and it drops to on and off. I push again, I rocker on down to track 3, select that, and I can see it's already turned on. That's great. I'm going to push menu to return to the next level and go back to the level before. And before I finalize my phantom setting, I'm going to check the voltage is correct. So I'm going to rocker on down to voltage, and I can see 48 volts comes up. Just let's push that into select. There are 3 options, and we want to make sure we're selecting plus 48 volts. So that's correct. I can come out of that menu option and go back to my VU meters. So a quick indicator to tell whether you have phantom power activated to any of the lines in is, if you can see here, there's a tiny little yellow lightning bolt at the bottom of the 3rd channel, and it's actually activated on all of these. So a quick visual gauge of my LED screen is I can see, great, I've got phantom to all of my inputs. I may not need it. If it's turned off, I'm going to need to go into that menu setting as I did then and set that. So my mic is activated, these are also activated, and I want to check out the red button, so I'm going to go down to the next record menu, and the first one is record format. Let's select that, and you'll see there are many there's so many options. There are MP3 options and there are WAV options. So to be recording uncompressed audio, we want to be selecting a WAV file. Very high quality is operating at 48 kilohertz and 24-bit. And that's a further discussion, but basically they're the settings you want. So 48 kilohertz, 24-bit, it's called a WAV file. Make that selection and out of your menu. And that comes up down here. So at the bottom of the screen, I can see that I've got WAV 4824 and plus 48 volts. So I've got my file type set and I'm assured that I have phantom power. All right, so to start recording, I'm going to pop on the headphones. I'm tangled up in cables, which is what happens when you do sound recording. It goes with the part of the course. Okay, so I've got my headphones on. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, testing. I'm just going to wind that up to get a slightly stronger signal. So between -12 and -6 dB, that looks good. To make a recording, I press the recording button and it drops straight into record mode. If I go into pause, it's going to hold that, and if I press the pause off, it continues in that track. To stop, press the stop, and if I start recording again, it'll start a whole new track. So I will have recorded 2 tracks this session. If I'm wanting to do final setup, I might do a sound check, ID the track, and then I can start recording again. You go into record, hit pause, and to go back into the record mode, hit pause again, and it keeps rolling through that track. That's really very basic use of this. Zoom recorders are super useful, great on location, really good for field recording, dialogue, all sorts of special effects. And because we have them in the store, you can borrow them, take them home, find a quiet place and get your recordings done in your own time. So there's a lot more to these, obviously, but this is a good start. I hope you've got something out of this, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for listening.